This is the xa'isla Handbook, Part 12. So the first half of the handbook, it basically explains the orthography and how it works. The second half of the handbook gives some examples of words and phrases that you can use in everyday life. So we start off by looking at the months in xa'isla. So we have here, starting at the beginning of the year, we have lestals. Lestals. You notice I'm saying le, not lay. I mentioned before in a previous video that A and I always say eh. They never say a. So this is lestals. And this is the xa'isla word for the month that is known as January. And the literal meaning behind this is to move back from its zenith. So this is talking about the sun, and it's making reference to the fact that there's a mountain range on the other side of the bay from the village, that when you stand at a certain place in the village, you can watch where the sun sets at the end of the day, and that will tell you what time of the year it is. So that's what is referred to as lestals, the sun moving back from its zenith. So it starts off in January at the southernmost part of the mountain range. Then it moves up to around this time in June. And then once it gets to its northernmost point, it starts moving back again. So when it gets back to the beginning, that's lestals, that's January. Next we have xa'isla. Xa'isla. And this is known as February in English. The literal meaning for this is the time that people are out of food and clean out everything. So this is getting towards the winter, once all of the winter supplies are starting to run down. It also has to do with sweeping. So basically, people are sweeping scraps of leftover food off of their doorstep and things like that. So that's what's meant by xa'isla. There's kind of a double meaning there. It means you're running out of your winter supply, and you're also getting rid of the leftover food and things like that. Next is xa'isla. Xa'isla. And this is March. So this means a bit of north wind comes every morning. So that xa'isla has to do specifically with the north wind. And it's still kind of cold because we're getting towards the end of winter. It'll start warming up around that time, towards the end of March. Next up is xa'isla. And this is April. This is one name that we have for April. So xa'isla means Ulican month. So xa'huan means Ulican. Xa'isla means the time of Ulican. And we also have xa'isla, which is also another name for April. And this means growing month. So xa'isla basically means to grow. And my understanding is that xa'isla is the first half of April. Xa'isla is the second month of April. This is usually the time that you will see salmon berries start to blossom. Around that time, around the end of April, beginning or end of April. They seem to be blooming a little bit earlier now. I've noticed that in the past few years, but they kind of fluctuate from year to year. But lately they've been starting to bloom around the beginning or middle of April instead of towards the end. But my understanding is that you could use either name. You could call April xa'isla or xa'isla. Either one is fine. Next is xa'isla. Xa'isla. And this is May, and this is when spring salmon start to spawn. So this is spring salmon month. So Kabus is spring salmon. Xa'isla is the time of spring salmon. That's basically how you can think of it in English. That would be more of a literal definition, is spring salmon time. Next we have xa'isla. Xa'isla. And this is June. And this is sockeye salmon season. So this is when the sockeye start to come in. So Hasten is sockeye salmon. Xa'isla is sockeye salmon time. Next is xa'isla. Xa'isla. I kind of popped the P there the second last time, but I corrected myself. It should be a regular P, just xa'isla. And this is July, and this is humpback salmon month. So xa'pi is humpback salmon or pink salmon. Xa'isla is humpback salmon time. So if you notice a pattern here, May is when the salmon start running. So there's each month is kind of named after this the type of salmon that run around that time, the species that run that time. So this continues into August, which is xa'isla. And this is August, and this is the month when dog salmon start to spawn. So xa'isla is August, dog salmon time. Next we have xa'isla. So it's similar to April, but the difference is this. So first of all, we have an A after the Z in April. Here we have an E. So this is da, and this is d. So the A makes more of an ah sound, ah, da. Here we have the E making an sound, z. And also notice the placement of the acute accent marker, this slanted dash over the A. So this tells us that we're emphasizing the first syllable because the A is in the first syllable. There's no acute accent over this vowel here because it's not being emphasized. And this one is where we're placing emphasis because the A has the acute accent. So that's why we're saying xa'isla. So we have xa'isla, and then we have xa'isla. So pay close attention to those aspects of the language, those differences between these two words. So if you pronounce them properly, then people will know whether you're talking about April or September, which is coho salmon month. So Duun is coho salmon. Xa'isla is coho salmon time. Next we have Gualis. And this is October, and this means ready or finished on the beach. So, yeah, so there's different meanings for gwath, which is the root word. Gwath can mean ready, or it can mean finished. So this can mean either one. Gwalis could mean ready or finished on the beach. So this is after we've gone through all of the different species of salmon. So the salmon have finished running, so now we're finished on the beach. We're finished harvesting and cleaning fish and processing fish. Next we have xa'isla. Xa'isla. And this is November. And this means rotten fish washes away on the beach. So it's kind of a continuation of Gwalis, where the fish that have spawned have died in the water or on the beach, and they're kind of laying there, and their bodies are decomposing on the beaches, on the riverbanks. And the last one is xa'isla. Xa'isla. That is, of course, December, and it means to become winter. So xa'isla is winter, and they have an apostrophe here, and an I and a D. So this I gets retracted by the apostrophe. It changes from an E sound to an A, gets attached to xa'isla, and then you have xa'isla. So this suffix here, this word ending, means to become. And then xa'isla means winter. So this is actually a very literal definition. Xa'isla means to become winter. So those are the names of the months